All right, identifying independent and dependent variables from equations and real world situations. So first thing we need to know is a little bit about what we're talking about. So independent variables. Those are going to be your domain. They're your input, the variable in the equation. And they're also what control the situation. Controls. All right, so then the dependent variables. Those are the range. They're the output, the result. They're the variable outside or alone in the equation. So that's what solves for. And it's the what happens. All right, so when we're looking at these problems, you have to read carefully, be very careful of what they're asking for. They will flip it around and then going with that. Sometimes it will actually say the input and stuff. So a function tells you how to compute the output R when the input C is given, which is the independent variable. Remember, the independent variable is the input. So they told me input is C, so it's C. The weight of a package affects the cost to send the package through the mail. What is the dependent variable? So the weight of the package is what's controlling the situation, and the cost is the result. So the dependent variable is going to be the result, and that is going to be the cost. All right, a family is measuring its house in order to figure out how much paint will be needed to paint the house. Which is the dependent variable in this relationship? So the size of the house is controlling how much paint we need. The size of the house is the independent variable. The dependent is the result or the amount of paint. And then we should be good with this. We'll check this answer. All right, so we've got 2 more to go. I'm going to leave my notes at the top of the page, and we're going to get our next question. All right, here we have an equation. Q equals 5u plus 2. So the independent variable is inside the equation, so that's going to be the u. The dependent is the one that's by itself, which is the q. So given the values of the output q, so remember output is dependent, and the input u, what is the dependent variable? So that's the one by itself. It is q. Austin is a runner. His time to finish a race varies with the number of training miles he runs before the race. So his training affects the time for the race. What is the dependent variable? So that's the result, and that is going to be the time to finish the race. Kira has a part-time job entering data into a computer. The amount of data she enters affects her pay at the end of the week. What is the independent variable? So what affects the what? The data affects the pay. She gets paid based on how much she gets done. So the amount of data entered is my independent variable. Oops, cancel. We're going to hit this button. So we're going to check our answer. All right, one more, and then we'll have this topic done. All right, the equation V equals 5V minus 5 determines the value of the output V as a function of the input, the output V as a function of the input B. What is the dependent variable? So dependent is the one by itself, so that will be the V. which is the output. The amount of a certain medication taken in the morning influences the amount of sleep that night. We've seen this question before, but this time they're asking for the independent variable. So what is causing this? The medication causes the amount of sleep. So independent is the amount of medication. So that's controlling the situation. A person's muscle mass changes with age. Muscle mass increases into young adulthood and decreases after. What is the independent variable in this relationship? So what's controlling the situation is the mass changes with the age. So the age is controlling the situation in your muscle mass as a result of that. So the age controls the situation. We will check this answer and we are good for this topic.